Welcome to the Grace and Truth podcast. I have on right now a great friend of mine from Grace Christian University I met, Doug Seelye.
What is happening,
What's
Hogan?
up, dude?
What's going on, man?
Yeah. So, Doug, where did we first meet?
I think we met in the library at Grace Christian University.
I think we did.
Frank, I think we did, dude. Yeah. I was studying with like Talon, Nate, Angel, and Joe, and then in comes you.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Did I do any studies? Probably not.
I don't think anyone really at the library. I think that's like
In comes you though. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get started?
Oh, we're set.
All right, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you grow up?
So I was born and raised in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and then we kind of moved a little bit here and there. So I started off in Wyoming, right down the street from my grandparents. So you know where that's at?
Yes, I do.
Yep. And then it used to be called the Yellow House, which is
the Yellow House.
The Yellow House. It was right off of Wentworth and 38th Street, right there on the corner in Wyoming. And then from there, we moved from there to 40th Street in Granville, right off of Ivan Rest. And yeah, that was a great house. It was a great house. So you see what I'm doing with the colors with the houses. So
yeah, the Yellow House.
Yep.
That's interesting.
And then when I got older, I didn't care as much. We moved from there and moved to a house on Porter Street in Wyoming. That was a whiter house, but I didn't care about the color. It was just it was a house. It was a double-decker house. Me, my mom, my sisters, we lived in the bottom part of it where there was another couple, family of some sort living on top. So it was kind of a mixed house. So, yeah.
Oh, how many siblings do you have?
I have 2 siblings, or biological siblings.
Oh, okay.
And then I got 3 step siblings.
Oh, okay.
But it's all family. So I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, exactly.
Yep. So that was that house. We lived there only for 2 years, whereas the other houses, that was a little bit different of time. We moved there when I was in 2nd grade, and then moved to off of Clyde Park in 33rd Street, and that was it's an olive green house, and it has a tree right in front of it. So it's kind of hard to miss with a greenhouse that just sticks out and a big tree in front. And then from there, went through some other medical things, and that made me move a little here and there. And then lived with my aunt and uncle for a little bit of time, and that's in Cutlerville. And then with my grandparents for the past 4, almost going on 5 years, 4 years. I'll probably be more right. But so, and then obviously Grace, I'm in townhomes, so yeah.
What a flex.
Oh yeah, big flex.
Who are your parents?
So my biological mom and dad is Rebecca and Steve, and obviously when I was a kid, no, it's not obvious, but my parents, they got divorced when I was young. Dad, sin itself, everyone makes mistakes in life. I'm one that's
You're not alone.
I'm not perfect one bit at all, bro. That's crazy. Yeah, you can ask anyone. Yeah, there's something wrong with that guy. But no, my dad made a mistake growing up, and then that kind of sent him away. And like there's a 5-year gap where that was a rough time growing up as a kid. That's where my uncle and then my grandpa, who stepped in huge for me, and then I got to see my dad 5 years. Once every 6 weeks with my siblings. My dad just got sent away to like prison. Dad, if you see this at all, I love you, but this is my story too. But our relationship grew after when he came back and everything, but that was a tough time for me. But I would see him every 6 weeks, it was, or 8, I forget exactly. But we would go up, and my grandparents would meet my mom and us halfway, so around Cedar Springs. That's where my aunt and uncle used to live at the time when I was a kid. So they would pick me up and bring me out there to like Greenville, past Greenville, and then we would see my dad so often and everything. But after those 5 years, my dad got back, and then just our relationship, you obviously gotta like bounce back from that and everything growing up. So it took a little bit of time, but right now things are going great. And my dad, he got remarried, he's 4 years now. So
Oh wow.
yeah. So and then I was his best man, and they're wedding with my stepmom, mom Melissa, and they're doing great. And that in comes my step siblings, or I just call them siblings. My younger brother and 2 sisters. So in total, I got 5 siblings, 3 of them in college, and 2 that is in freshman year of high school. So and then I'm the oldest, so just trying to be a good example to them and trying to learn on the fly here and there. So,
I don't hate to ask this, but who are you closest to?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
That's a great question. For me, it's my grandpa. There's no doubt that it's my grandpa. Like I said, like my dad went away, my grandpa had to step in for that father role. He was a person to really step up. My uncle was there too, but my grandpa lived closest, so he was the one to step in and be there for me, like anytime like I really needed to. Obviously during that time he was still working and all that at Godwin Plumbing where I worked too, but he was a manager and everything, so he's a lot busier at times, but he was the one that stepped up. We would go to Michigan State games together. We would go to basketball games, see Wyoming Park Vikings at the time when they were still around. Now it's Wyoming. It's whatever. But then, we would go fishing. We would go, we still do these things too. We fish. We did sports, soccer, basketball, baseball in the yard, all of the fun stuff. Sledding, taught me to hunt a little bit, and you name it, he kind of taught me. And so he's probably my closest and best friend. I have so many friends. I tell a lot of people, like, I'm more of an extrovert, but then again I'm an introvert some at times too, so it's kind of a weird mix. It just depends on how I feel
extrovert introvert, or introverted extrovert,
something in the middle, or a little over extroverted. But it's but my grandpa for sure.
Any memories that come to mind?
Like memories of my grandpa? He's still around, so I still talk to him, see him like pretty much every week or almost every day ish. Depends on how busy we both are, especially me in college and everything, and then him taking care of grandma a little bit more, even though she's doing mostly good for now and everything, and then he just stays busy with his buddies, coffee friends, and fishing, cousins, all that fun stuff. But memories, fishing a lot. That's a fun one. I always remember getting my biggest fish when I went fishing with him at my uncle's out in Caledonia. When I was a kid growing up, I remember we would go sledding at Johnson Park Hill, and we would just go down that hill so many times, and then we'd do donuts in a parking lot. We would there was the one time we'd go fishing and all of that, like I said. So we would go to the park, and we would go at night and look for night crawlers to use for bait. And we would do that a few times, and then this one time though, the cop showed up, and we had to get out of there. And that was a funny time. That was really funny. I'll give one more example. There's so many to tell. But one more. There was this turtle. It was out on the road off of Prairie by that one park. I forget what's the name of that park, but it's in Wyoming, right across from apartments. There was this one turtle, and me and my grandpa decided to stop and pick it up and get it. And then I remember it was in my grandpa's red truck, and he picked it up and put it in the truck and everything.
Rescue mission.
Yeah, and it just peed all over the ground, bro. It peed all over the ground. It was the funniest thing. And my grandpa got so mad. We brought it back, and it was really funny too, because at home when I was a kid, there was like this kid like tub of a thing, like we would go swimming in sometimes.
Like kiddie pool.
It was something like that. It was like a plastic pool, not that. It was a hard plastic.
Soft. I know what you're talking about.
But it was in the shape of a turtle.
What?
So
you put the turtle in the turtle.
Yeah. And then we threw some logs in there, and we tried to make it nature-y and all that. And we tried to raise it as like a pet. Dude, we tried so hard. We fed it, we took care of it, and we named it Little Doug, because I was Doug, he's Doug. Like, he's Big Doug, I'm Little Doug. Yeah. And that would have been Junior Doug, Little Doug. So, but unfortunately, it didn't want to eat anything really.
Oh,
and
dude.
then me and Grandma were like, crap. So we eventually had to put it out there, but that was a funny day, funny story, and all of that. So, and again, there's so many stories, and I have so many stories of everyone that I know, especially this guy across from me. And this kid who's sitting behind everything, this kid Reese, he's trying to hide it, but he knows. But yeah, I have so many memories of like anyone and everyone, but me and my grandpa, we definitely have some good stories and all that.
That's good, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you go to school?
Oh yeah, so when I first went to Polka Dot Garden as a kid.
Polka Dot Garden, where's that at?
That's like the pre-K, like before kindergarten and all that. So that was at Granville Christian Schools, which is off of Ivan Rest again. No, Wilson, that's the other street. So yeah, that's and then kindergarten I went to this Charter Academy. It's off of Ivan Rest too. If you just keep going straight down, then you hit it. I went there for 1 year. And then after that, it's been pretty much just Granville Christian Elementary and Calvin Christian Middle School, High School.
Any memories from that era? Like,
oh man, there's so many stories I could tell you.
What did you like struggle with during that time? Like, was there like any like fitting in or like insecurities or anything? Would you say? Or?
I mean, one, like being from a divorced family and all that, that's a tough thing to go through, like everyone else has a parent and then I don't. So that was kind of a weird stage, but I mean, for them, like I was fine. Everyone accepted me. I accepted them and we just rock and rolled. And, I played all the sports. I mean, you know me, I'm an athletic person and I mean, pretty much I'm genuine, nice and kind to everyone. Like I typically am, or I hope others see that I am at least, if I'm not, I'm sorry and hope that I can make that change some way, somehow to you. But there's so many memories from kindergarten and elementary school, high school, middle school, both like in a good way and like a not so great way, health-wise way, and other ways. So when I was a kid, I hated doing schoolwork, hated it. And I was stuck in like the not smart group of reading and talking. I hope I got a little better at that at least. I don't know. But
yeah, I'd say so.
And what else? It was math, reading, speaking. I just didn't excel in, so I was placed in these groups. Those were some funny groups. I had some really cool people. And
did that make you feel any different than like the regular people, I guess?
I mean, I just had to catch up on a lot of like things that other students were excelled at or were better at than I was at the time. So it would be, like I said, it was a special group. So we had to get our own specific reading at times. Like we'd have our own books that we had to focus on and read, and words that we had to know and like understand and all that. There were sometimes though, like we read the same book, we were just at sometimes a little different paces than that, or sometimes we were ahead, sometimes we were behind. But pretty much we were right there. We just needed a little extra help. But that was like
health reason. I remember you saying like memories about health. Is that?
Yeah. So growing up too, a little bit older. Yeah, there's some funny stories. But I'm just gonna think of like high school and on pretty much, or middle school and on. That's when I first in basketball I first rolled my ankle. That was sucky. I mean, what's funny about me too is I've never broken any bones. But I've had so many rolled ankles through all my sports or whatever. Never really, or might have been sprained too, but never broken anything. I've had, when we were playing frisbee, ultimate frisbee, middle school year, I think it was 7th grade. Me and my buddy Andrew Kruppen, we went up for this frisbee that our teachers threw. I thought I had it clear, and I didn't see him behind me or anything. So when we both jumped up for it, he jumped apparently so high that he landed on top of my head. His 2 front teeth were missing.
What?
As in my head was just gushing out blood.
Jeez.
That was both hurt. It hurt both.
I bet.
But it was so wild because I never thought someone's teeth would be stuck in my head for a few seconds, and then he would be saying ouch, ouch, ouch about his teeth missing because I never thought that. And then there's a pool of blood by me, and then they try and cleared all up, and then I got sent to the hospital with my mom. It was really cool. The principal came and dropped us off. It was really cool. That was a fun story, and her story with the head, but it was chilling. But yeah, that was when I first got. That was the first time I really got. No, that was the second time I got stitches. Well, maybe I do have a story playing in when I was a kid. When I was a kid in elementary school, well, we would get picked up, and then we would have to go to this daycare as me and my sisters. I think at least my sister Malia. But we dropped off at Discovery. Yeah, something Discovery Kids. Discovery Kids or something like that. It's in Granville. We were playing soccer out on the cement, and there's like the cage that they keep all the kids in, or not a cage, that sounds bad. A fence. They keep everyone in.
Cage? Like a prison or something?
My bad.
I know what you're feeling, dude. I felt like that too.
I mean, some days, like, that daycares, that's what it felt. You're just stuck. But at that time, we were playing soccer, and then obviously I was good at playing soccer and all that, so kids got mad, and they pushed me into the fence, and I got the nice little scar there, and that was the first time I got stitches. And then grew up and putting his teeth in my head when we both tried to get the frisbee. That's the second. Oh man, that was probably the worst in middle school. I think that was the worst thing, health wise. And then high school hit. Man, that was interesting. Again, a lot of rolled ankles or whatever in sports. And then it was the spring of 2018. I first got a blood clot in my leg. It was an interesting story. I first went on a trip to New York with some other choir students and band orchestra for our school in high school. We just got an amazing opportunity to go to an elementary school and sing, and then that showed how Christ works too. And because I was from Christian school, and like I think every student was a Christian too, especially our teachers as well. They're working at a Christian school nonetheless, but everyone was a Christian, which was really cool. That's a good thing about being in a Christian school as well. Everyone is a Christian, or that I know of, it was a Christian, or their families too were Christian, which was really sweet. And then it's such a small school. It's maybe a little bit bigger than Grace, but it's smaller than all the other high schools pretty much. So our school, we went to New York, and I think our first stop was in New Jersey to the elementary school. And then the rest, we got to go explore New York, and then we got to go to some basilicas, churches in New York, and just got to go sing around. It was so lovely to see all those old buildings and just go inside them and just see how amazing the architecture and how all the art and everything's created. It was really something. It was really sweet. But yeah, that was how we got to see it. And then after that, I went on a mission trip with my youth group at Berkeley Hills, and we went to Tennessee, North Carolina. I remember it was really close to, it was pretty much right at Appalachian Bible. It was right on the Appalachian Trail and the mountains there. There was a camp there called TVR, Teen Valley Ranch, and that's like a summer camp and everything. And we had a mission trip to go help get that all prepared for their summer and everything. So we did a bunch of everything, serving and just getting that camp all set for the summer. Did a lot of jobs.
Now, were you serving, like, who were you, like, was it, you like serving the camp?
Yeah. So we went there, and we helped like clean up all their like sport places, sport areas that they would do games. We would cut down some trees, big trees. We would help move some logs all over the place. We would help clean the kitchen. We would help clean like the cabins that were there, and there was some other jobs, mulch. There's so many different
landscaping.
Landscaping and some other different things.
Oh, gotcha.
But apparently, I didn't move enough on the trips, so I developed a blood clot in my leg, and that was not fun. It was not It was painful. Not a fun time. So that was the first one, and it was. What's really funny though? I actually met some really interesting people when I got to go to the hospital because of that. I got to meet some really cool baseball players that are in the like little league and major league. So like for the Tigers, I got to meet Parker Meadows, which
Oh, wow.
that was really cool. And we still stay connected. He's got my phone number. I got his. We're connected on Instagram, and we just like talk here and there. Not a whole lot. I mean, obviously he's famous and he has a busy life with the Tigers, and I'm over here at Grace with my stuff too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Tigers cut from a different cloth.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
he might have a little bit more adult job than me in college right now, but nonetheless, we're both busy. But that's my first injury story. The second one came from, oh man, it was out of the blue. It was 2019, November 29, and it was just out of the blue. It was the day after Thanksgiving, and I thought I was perfectly fine, and I thought nothing was wrong, but apparently other people said I was wrong. They said I wasn't doing good. I wasn't moving right. My uncle, he came to pick me up from my grandparents because I stayed overnight at my grandparents where we always had Thanksgiving dinner. But yeah, no. He picked me up, said I was really slow. He was trying to get me out of the house and bring me to practice because I had basketball practice after Thanksgiving. And yeah, it was really weird. There's some people that said hi to me. I didn't even know. It was really funny. There was a funny story. I saw my friend when I got to school. He was walking right past the car of my uncle's, and I gave him a really slow peace sign. And they told me I looked like Flash, the sloth from
Zootopia.
Zootopia. It was really funny. But then moving on from that, when I got in, there was like Kennedy Stevens. That's the coach's daughter. And apparently I totally blew her off, didn't say hi or anything. And that's not like me because, like I said, I'm an extrovert. I say hi to like everyone or say something to almost everyone. So apparently I didn't do that. And then when I got going into the locker room and everything, I didn't like say anything. It took me a half hour to change in the locker room, which is just switch shoes, put on a jersey, and throw on some different shorts. It took me a half hour, and that doesn't happen. So when I got out there, and I thought I was perfect. Teammates, coaches, they saw it different. And they pulled me out to the side, like, hey, you doing good? I'm like, yeah, of course, I'm doing fine. Yeah. They said, oh, okay. And then I went back out there, did the same. What's the point? I thought I was fine again. Again, I was moving too slow, supposedly. And again, coaches pulled me aside, hey, are you sure you're good? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And then they said, hey, just hold on us one more second. We might want Emily to take a look at you. She was the trainer, and like, okay, but I want to go back in and everything. So I went back and played, but still, again, I wasn't good. So they took Coach Doug. He was a really cool guy. It's the Dougs, man. All Dougs. My grandpa, me, a number of Dougs. But Coach Doug, he's a great guy. He'd pull him and say, hey, you are you on drugs? Did you take, like, or did you drink? Did you smoke? Did you do any of these things? Like, no, you know me, Coach. I don't do those things. And I didn't do any of those things. So. And then Emily found me. She took me aside, and she had me sit down and drink some water. And I was fine for a few minutes, but then after a little bit, I threw up. And then coaches saw and noticed, like, Doug, you got to go. So coaches called all my family members, see if they could try and pick me up. No one could except my grandpa. So he came and got me and told me to take some more water, drink some more water. Do you think that would have been fine? That's what Emily thought too. But that wasn't it. My grandpa thought it was maybe because I took a medicine for allergies the night before, and it wasn't that. Doctors later said that shouldn't have been a problem. That's not a problem. So when I took the water from my grandpa and sat down, I had it, and then I threw up all over the carpet in the house. And that was not good. He's like, no, we got to go to see a doctor. We're not staying here. So I get in his car.
At that point, were you nervous? about what was going on, or did you really have no clue?
I really just wasn't so nervous. I thought I was still decently fine. I know that's strange to hear, even though I was throwing up, but I didn't think anything was going on that was really, really bad or wrong. But the story keeps going on. We start to head down to the doctor, and then a few times I just started to feel car sick. So now I'm like, yeah, I'm not feeling too hot. So I threw up outside the window a few times.
Jeez.
And we called my mom, and we were saying we're on our way to the doctor. And then she told us, oh, no, let's go to the children's hospital. And so we decided to do that, me and my grandpa. So we did a little turn from we went on a turn around, and yeah, I really didn't like that. Might have thrown up again. we headed to the children's hospital, and when we got down there, sorry, this is the one funny thing I get to laugh at my grandpa. He knows this story, he's heard this, but he had no idea where to go for a children's hospital, where to park or whatever. So he just drops me off on the side of the street in Grand Rapids. So I had to walk up top to the hill to get to the ER. I guarantee you there's someone who saw me that thought I was probably drunk or stoned or something. Because I was like, just walking up the hill.
This is nuts.
I finally get in, and I checked myself, and somehow, some way, my mom, she got into the ER to the children's hospital before my grandpa. He gets there eventually, but yeah, my mom got there, and like we just went straight in, and they took me in the back because, like, again, I had that whole blood clot thing like not so long ago too, and like my sister, like before me and before my blood clot problems, she had one of her own. Like that almost killed her.
Oh wow!
It started in her leg and worked her way up into her lungs, which is another scary, sad story because we could have lost her, and thank goodness, thank to God, like he saved her, and we got her in just in time, but yeah, like with me, like we went straight back, and like I blacked out, had no idea. Like I said, blacked out. I don't know if I was put to sleep, if I just blacked out, or whatever else that could just make me go to sleep. So I woke myself up and found me lying in a bed of hospital. And yeah, that's my cover screen too. I don't know if you can see it or not, but this is my me in a hospital, and there's some basketball players on that too. Found out, they told me, hey, do you know where you're at or why you're here or what day time is? This is the normal health. I'm like, well, I know what day it is, and I know where I at, but I don't know why. I just woke up. And they told me, well, you unfortunately had a blood clot in your head and you had a stroke. And that kind of set me off. Oh my gosh, I had those. This is what happened. That happened to me. That like blew me away.
Wow.
Like, I never thought in like a billion years that I would have that happen to me. Yeah, that was a long stretch of time. Like, and again,
what was running through your head when you first said that?
When I at the hospital and all that.
When he told you that you had blood clot in your head.
I was just in shock. I was sad because especially as a kid, I thought I had like everything kind of set out in a way, but then like, oh crap, you're gonna have to cut that off. You're gonna have to start making some other plans. But even with that, like I never lost hope either. I kind of had what did that like I guess, did that make you like a little bit uncomfortable or a little bit upset or about that, or because that's a way different like way of thinking, like you said, like I had this thing set out what I was gonna do, but yeah, no, I wasn't totally upset at all, not gonna lie, but uncomfortable, yeah, heck yeah. I kind of had I had a thought in my head of what I was gonna maybe do, but then things change. Things happen for a reason. I don't always know. No one knows why everything happens in the world. I mean, God's the only one that knows everything, what's going to happen today, tomorrow, forever. But it was just a life-changing event. I had to be in the hospital for like a month straight to start. I mean, even a little bit longer after that too. But yeah, I mean, during that time, like I was in the hospital, like I thought I was doing perfect again in the hospital recovering. So I got sent to Mary Freebed, which is connected to St. Mary's. My aunt works for St. Mary's too. So she got to see me every so often. We started doing the recovery. We started to do more things to see how I was doing, some sports stuff too. I mean, honestly, I'm going to like some OT, OC, occupational, OP. I don't know what it is. But
terminology is
right.
Yeah,
Medical terms. I know a bit, but man, it's something else. But I thought I was doing good, and I thought I was working my way back. I thought I was going to be perfect and could just go on. But then again, that didn't happen. At Mary Freebed, somehow, some way, I just started not to feel good again. And yes, there was a number of things like lights everywhere, some people at times, too many people, TV, my like music, you name it, stuff that makes a lot of stimulus stuff and all that, like everything. Like sometimes it was just too much, and my head would be constantly hurting. So my head. So they give you a percentage of how big your head is after you have surgery. And with me finding out, like I was in the hospital laying in the bed, they told you, okay, you had a stroke, and they had to go inside your head and like fix some stuff and help you like be awake and everything. Because like I said, I was knocked out. I didn't know what happened. So they woke me up. They said your head was only supposed to inflate to 4%. And my head, they told me it got to 94%. So my head was big. It was like a bubble.
Wow.
It was comparable to like a basketball and like a half or so. And that was not a good thing. So what we had to do was I was puking. So like, okay, again, not good. We're going to call the ambulance and we're going to take you. So we went back into the ambulance and got on the back. They had to put a drain on the back of my head for a minute, and there was so much fluid or other stuff that they said that wasn't supposed to be there that was there. So they found out that some like bacteria, or I'm trying to remember what exactly, like something was wrong or got infected with my head. So what they did was I had to have another surgery, and they had part of my skull get cut out. So I mean it's kind of obvious now. I got a haircut too, but you can kind of tell like there's a whole line that goes around the head. So it's like a whole handful of like my skull just getting cut out. And
wow.
After that,
Jeez.
My family, we had another funny nickname for me after that. I mean, I have a billion. But another one was half skull. So that was a funny time. So I had to have a half skull. And after that, too, since I had that, I had to have a PICC line in me. So a PICC line, I mean, I had to have so many IV lines. I mean, everyone like pretty much knows what an IV line. A PICC line is very, very similar, mostly. But it does the same thing. You have a thing, you have to poke yourself, or you have something in you, except it starts from your heart and it kind of goes and it kind of weaves through. It's really strange and weird of a feeling. So you have this thing sticking out of you, and then they have to like push like medicine and other stuff, saline. Oh, it's terrible. This is salt. This is just the saltiest thing ever. It's nasty. I did not like it, and it burned here and there. It was not good. So
what kept you like in your frame of mind that like there was hope? I couldn't imagine like sitting in that emergency room and getting hooked up with a hose in the back of my head. Dog, that just sounds nuts, dude.
Yeah, it is crazy, and I always say this too. It was the worst time of my life because I could have been dead. Right now, I'm a walking miracle. I'm blessed to be
Amen.
here. I'm here with you. I'm here with Reese, and I'm just here in this world to talk to others about my life and help others and show them who God is and what it looks like to be Christ. Knowing Jesus and being Jesus is my statement, my mission statement.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a lot of other churches' statement, but that's my statement. Do I still struggle in life with other sin in that too? Yeah, of course. We're all human. We're fallible, and that happens. But I'm thankful for grace and forgiveness that God gives me, others give me. But going back to your question of how did I go through it, and that was my worst time. That was literally my worst time. Like, especially in health-wise, I should have been dead. I could have died.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 1 in a million for being alive. But the thing that like really helped me and supported me was all my friends, all my family, my school. Of course, God's number one.
Mm-hmm.
For one. I mean, I should have started with that. But I mean, there's so many people here in the Michigan area, not just counting my family who's around the states, but just to put it down to simple terms, is love from others. I mean, the number of people I can't even tell you. I don't even remember. But I had schools from all over Michigan sending me letters, sending me messages, sending me some other things via like social media or whatever of like, hey, thankful for that you're alive, or I'm happy that you're here. So it's incredible. It's really sweet. I still have all the notes, cards, letters. I mean, even a basketball for my team. It's in my town. It's in my townhome.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right by all the other fun stuff I have, like my TV, Bibles, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
It's right there. It just reminds me of you're loved,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what saved me. My grandma said, I don't know how you were that happy too. I don't know how you went through that and just went through it the way you did, being in that state of being all hurt, being all in the hospital, but you did it. And, that's just, it's very nice to
Mm-hmm.
see and hear. And I did go through it. It sucked. I couldn't do basketball. I was half scald. I couldn't stay focused for stuff more than like 2 hours, 2.5, 3 maybe. Of course it went better, but during that time it sucked. It really sucked. I couldn't do it. But like I said, just from other people, close ones, family, they were the main. They helped me get through it all.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, that too, my mom, obviously she was the one telling me go to the hospital. She was probably the biggest reason why I'm still one of the
Mm-hmm.
reasons why I'm still around here, because
Mm-hmm.
she told me to go to the children's hospital. She would always put up some Bible verses up on the board for me just to think about and come to terms with too. And
Wow.
pastors too, that's part of friends and family too, but
Mm-hmm.
they'd always come to me, bring some messages, or just that type of thing. It was really sweet.
That's just amazing to see how God just surrounded you in that moment.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Even through that storm, I couldn't imagine that, dude.
Mm-hmm.
When was the first moment that you gave your life to Christ?
Yeah. So for that, I was always raised in a Christian household. Both my parents, they had me. I know this goes against the grace thing, but I still believe in baptism. From that, I was baptized as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make you saved? No, by no means does it. But it's just a good representation of what Jesus did, and kind of a profession of faith type thing too. I believe. There's probably some other things that I'm not thinking off the top of my head right away, but those are some examples. But when I first came to faith, I made it my own, I should say, because I always knew Christ and always read the Bible, prayed. It was when I was 12. I took it to heart a lot more. I did some catechism things, I read in the hand filled at Calvary Christian Reformed Church that they had. And did profession of faith. I did it with one of my friends, Caleb Rush, and my sister Malia. And we both did that together, and we made our profession of faith in May of 2014, I think it was. Man, I think it was. I still have the plate of a thing. It was like a wooden plaque, or not like a plaque, but it's just a rectangle of a thing that says.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nice Bible verse and had my name in it instead of some other word. But that's when I really made it my own. And then, youth group stuff I really I took to heart and everything too. And like that's especially during that age too. I mean, this is even psychology for you, but during that age you start to be a little bit more open-minded about what, like, to others, of what they think and want you to learn, instead of like your parents just telling you, hey, this is what you should believe, this is how it's done, more so I really took that, made it my own during that time when I was 12, 13.
That's awesome, dude.
Mm-hmm.
How has he changed you?
Man, I mean, I'm still in a work in progress myself. I know it. But I mean, just the way I act towards others too. I mean, the big thing is like I said earlier, like my mission statement is to know Jesus and be Jesus. Like, reading the Bible shows us how it is to look like Christ. I mean, you can even take from like both Old Testament and New Testament. You read about the commandments God gave Moses and Israelites. That's still applicable today for people to follow, and I take that to heart too. Am I perfect to everyone? No. That's, like I said, I'm a work in progress. But then you go into the New Testament too and see how Jesus acts towards other people, even people that hated him. The Jews wanted him dead, and he showed love to others, and he did everything like how God wanted him to love others to his death. And I'm just trying to follow to the best of my abilities to show what it looks like to be him. I mean, even just going by like the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. For such there's no law. So it's just trying to follow him to the best of my abilities with the help of reading the scripture. But you can't just read it. You gotta actually put that to action. Otherwise, I forget what verse it is, but it says, what it mentions is, if you just read the Bible, it doesn't mean really anything if you don't put that into action. I mean, like
faith without works is dead.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah, I don't remember where exactly that is.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's from the Bible too. That's where you learn about salvation. Yeah, it's people talk about it too, but where do they actually find that first? It's through reading, unless they heard it from Jesus first. But I don't know anyone from my family that's known Jesus like in person, but they read in the Bible, hey, this is how people should go about life, and they first taught me, and then I, like you said, like, how did he make Jesus my own and all that? How did I make him myself, and how am I following him? Is reading the Bible, actually studying the Word, looking into it, and just actually looking into evidence, and like reading the contexts and all of that, being really fine with looking into all of that, and like, okay, yeah, this is how we should conduct our life, at least my life. I mean, I'm not everyone. That's okay. That's fine. I don't have to be everyone. I know people who have a lot of differences than I do. So, but yeah, going to scripture is huge, and that's how I come to know him a lot.
That's cool. It's really cool to hear. What is he currently teaching you?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Within the fruits of the Spirit, or
yeah, I mean, I think a good one is not to worry as much. I mean, I've gone through a lot health-wise. I mean, even the last December, I had here's another medical thing too, but I had a seizure out of the blue. And, I learned that it was because of the thing that happened 4 years ago with the whole blood clot, stroke, half skull of a thing, that he's like, don't don't worry about it so much. You have people around you to help you, and you'll have just help. And I just want you to don't be as worried or concerned about things in life. For another example, like, I know for the most part what I think will happen within a year, which is a good thing, which is good. But do I know what will happen after that? Not really. Not really. I'm still seeing what will happen maybe, but I'm not worried about it, I would say. Like, I'm content with where I am right now. I'm fine where I'm at, and I know the word fine is probably not the best term, so I'm going to say good. I'm good where I'm at, because I just know that I can trust God, that he's got me in his plans for a good plan. Is he doesn't want anyone to have a bad life or anything. He has a good plans for me, so I'm very happy and thankful for all of that, for sure. But I'm just trying to give it all my worries, trying to do my best with just giving it all up to him and everything. And I think a lot of people struggle with that today in this world, because, I mean, you see all the things that happens. There's a lot of issues that go on in our world, and that causes a lot of worry and stress in our lives. And I'm trying to do my best to give that all up to him and everything.
What do you think your calling is?
Yeah. Oh, I love that question. That's a great question. So, when I was a kid, I thought I was going to be playing for Michigan State basketball. I thought I was going to be in the NBA, like a 6'2" point guard for like the Pistons, or, oh man, maybe like the Lakers or Golden State. I don't know. There's so many teams, but for sure, like the Pistons. I mean, it's Michigan. We're in Michigan, so. But yeah, I thought I was gonna be playing basketball at Michigan State and go to the NBA, but obviously I'm 5'8.5". I had to add a half.
Yeah, I think it's a huge difference.
But time changes, so time moves on, and like, oh crap, I'm not gonna be 6 foot, 6'2", and I'm not that good at basketball like I thought I would be to go to Michigan State and play over there. So I thought my next plan was to be a police officer, and then I just never put as much effort, or I don't know what's another term.
Was it like because it was like it just didn't feel right, or what?
A mix of that. It didn't feel right, or exactly I was like called to do that either. But what I'm like, it hit really when I was end of my junior year of high school, that youth ministry would be that thing. And it's really that's funny me talking about that too, because that's when I had the whole blood clot of a thing, my first one. But that's when I really thought, I feel like God's calling me to do youth ministry and that. So I really took that to heart.
What made you say that?
I just, growing up too, like obviously like my dad was away, so I had like all these people step up in my life. So like my uncle, my grandpa, I had a mentor that stepped in from Calvary. Love that guy, Mr. Brett. I'm sorry I don't know where you're at. Hope you're doing good if you see this. I don't know if you do, but hope you're doing well. A lot of other church people stepped up big in my life, and then especially like with like cadets and youth ministry too. Like these people became like big influences for me too. And it was a really close thing, and I'm like, oh, God just put it on my heart, and I think that's his calling for me to do. So that's why I'm at Grace, to continue it and continue his calling for me. I mean, I always stuck with youth ministry when I was a kid. I always went to youth group, did a lot of stuff through youth group and everything, helped as much as I could. Even though I was probably a little bit wild and crazy because, athletic, high school kid, middle school kid. But, that was just a fun time. I tried my best to help others when I could too. And I mean, right out of college too, I became a coach, and I helped with my old high school, and it was mainly goalkeeper stuff, but I mean, still, it's being a coach. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
help others out, help teach them. I also helped with Young Life when I was there for I was only there for a year, but still it's a great place, great opportunity. I was also part of I got to as a kid was in Young Life as a kid and student, and then after that too, I just loved doing youth ministry. I missed out that sophomore year of high school, out of college, so that really took a like. I was like, oh man, I missed that. I really do miss that. So I still did coaching, but I missed the youth ministry like aspect of like helping other kids come to Christ and just help walk by them too in some sort of way. And then freshman year at Grace, I got the opportunity to be an intern youth pastor in a way at a church, and it was a good experience. And after that, I took a step away from that internship, that job at that church, moved on to my childhood church at Calvary Christian Reformed Church, was the intern there for youth ministry things. Great experience, got to be right beside my youth pastor, and I had a lot of youth pastors. They're all really good, but John really helped me like see what it means and looks like to be a youth pastor and everything, which was really awesome and sweet to see and work with him. And it's like he could bounce off ideas with me and everything to help set things up and set up like events, set up a fundraiser, set up youth group lessons, or anything really that I really had a question for him. He would answer and help me with it and everything, and I got to help lead and help. I actually got to I said some things to him like, and because he never took a youth ministry class, he helped with Young Life a lot. He did that in college and did that for I think he was in it for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I talked to him about what I've been learning in youth ministry at Grace. He's like, oh, that's interesting. He never thought about that before, and he took some things in, which is really cool. And then here I am, and just continue that call of youth ministry, and I'm a leader at Lifestream Church now, which is awesome and great. Thankful for opportunity, and it's a larger church too, so I'm learning like, okay, this is a new fun experience.
Mega church.
No, it's not a mega church. It's not a mega church, but it's a bigger church than I've been at the past two, because those were both smaller churches. So getting to learn about how do I work in like a bigger church than just a more of a small church where it's not as big. So I'm looking forward to the calling of seeing this and how this is going out. But the other fun with youth ministry things too, my youth pastors and other leaders like said or suggested, hey, maybe you want to even look at camp ministry too. So this past summer I really took that to heart and thought about it, prayed about it, and I made a call to some I know about a lot of camps, but never the same camp was a big one for me. And I did that in 5th grade going on till senior high school, but senior year of high school, COVID, so that sucked. That was the other thing to the whole head thing. COVID hit, I was getting better, and then I could go back to school a little bit, but then COVID cut. It was interesting year, to say at least. But going back to the calling part, all the camp people who I was really close with, like the staff members of there, I didn't even know that Mark Carroll, who's my youth ministry teacher at Grace, helped create that camp and help with things. And his sons-in-law are the staff that help run it and everything, help create it. And I'm like, that's crazy. So I gave them a call and everything. So now I'm with them and all of that. So that's really sweet. Camp, obviously, it's a summer camp, so I gotta wait till next summer to actually go out on a road with them and go help run camp and everything. But we already did one event this past August, which was a really cool event. This say like, hey, we're out here in a neighborhood and we're out here in a community, and we just love people and we just want to show others a good time. Like, what they did was like a whole slip and slide event and some other fun games stuff and that type of thing. So that was a blast. So
that's cool.
But that's just a part of my journey with my calling on youth ministry things, and we'll see where God wants me to go from here.
Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Man, that is a good question. I mean, you can go in like two different ways.
I remember you
So-
talking about like being like less worried.
Sure. Well,
Were you?
I'll go with the first, like how I'm thinking. Like the one, you can never go back and change like everything. You can't go back and change how you want your life to like be. Cause I don't know. Like this is so hypothetical in no sense, because like you never know what could happen if you go back in time and change that one thing. Would the same things happen today that had happened? Would I never had this blood clot stroke of a thing that typically a 17-year-old never ever has? Like I said, 1 in a million. But just go. I won't get into the hypothetical too much. But if I would say one thing is don't. Oh man, that's a great question. Obviously, my mom would probably say, listen to your mom a little bit more. Man, that's a great question. I might have to get back to you on that a little bit. But that first one, my mom would probably say yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that something that you struggle with, like trying to change the circumstances? Like, is that something you like I guess worried about, or something that
Like changes circumstance?
yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of different things like I wouldn't do if I could go back. I mean, all the different type of sin I've committed or done. I would love to go back, but you know, I can't go back. So I'm trying to focus on the now and the future, you know, because like if I could go back and change like stuff that I have done or whatever, I would definitely do it. You know, like you can name a sin. Like the only things I haven't done is obviously kill someone or there's probably some other different type of sins where I haven't committed either. But the ones that I have, like I know a lot of people could relate with, and you know, yeah, I mean, if I could, I definitely would, because that's how God wants us. He wants us to live a godly life and become more holy and everything. But I know, like I said, I just can't go back, so that's a bummer. But I'm not afraid of like people changing to get better, like right now to get better. That's a great thing. But if they want to change to get worse, that's like we got to work on that a little bit. So, you know.
Gotcha.
I don't know if that answered the question.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
What do you see happening right now in this world? Well,
Yeah.
we talked about that kind of earlier.
I mean, there's a lot of problems going on in the world. You can name them. You see it all over. I mean, man, sin's always gonna be a problem. That's obviously this sin or fall is caused by Adam and Eve in the garden, and from there on, I mean, sin's in the world. That kind of God allowed, or God lets us have free will to do things in life, but you know, he is that like powerful, like he's the most powerful, all-knowing, everywhere, eternal person. He limited his own self. He's that powerful. He limited his own self to allow us to have free will. And that's really crazy and like all a wonder, like that's interesting. But you know, I'm never gonna be able to answer that until you get to heaven one day, which I know I will, because John 3:16, Romans 9 or 10, 9 through 10, 9 through 13, like in chapel we talked about. But yeah, there's a lot of problems. I know I can't fix like all of them, like, but like with like in the youth ministry setting with like the people I have, if that ever comes up as a question or something to be talked about, like I can do my best of what I know to help like direct people in the right way with different issues or circumstances might come up. Am I perfect with everything? No, but then I know people that are better at some things than I. So that's a good thing to refer them over to other people that can help. So, but yeah, there's so many issues. And prayer's a good thing. Prayer's, that's the best. Honestly, that's the best way for
Best spiritual weapon.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I mean, that's also in Ephesians 6-20. That's the message of the armor and everything. So you got all the different pieces, and then at the end it talks about prayer, and that's like that's a big one, because that's us talking to God and us communicating with Him. He wants that.
He hears our prayers.
Yeah, and he does. He hears. He answers. It might not be the way we all want it to be, but he'll answer all of our prayers.
As a just and holy God.
Yeah. So, He might not judge everything now or change everything now, but when a person dies, or if He comes again, which He says soon and very soon, we don't know the time. It's not for us to know the time, it says too. But he will judge in His way that's just and righteous and everything. So, yeah, answering about all the issues and all that, that's a tough one to think about. Yeah.
What's your favorite Bible verse?
Yeah, I mean, John 3:16. That's a great one. I love it. We did this in class too with Sam, Dr. Sam, and he showed us like how this is like salvation, and like each line has like a different part to it. Like each line, for God, and then so loved. He goes through each line, and that's a powerful one. Yeah, there's so many verses on my mind. I don't know if I have an exact perfect one or a great one in my mind, but trust in the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, strength is up there with them, it's up there. So, I mean, there's so many verses that's just going on in this head right now. It's just probably because I'm in ministry and all that, but yeah, there's so many. I might even have it on my phone, but yeah. I'll give you a current one. How about that?
Sounds good.
So this verse, I don't know it by heart, but currently it's just been on my heart, talking about it and learning about it over this past summer and really reflecting on it. It's Matthew 5:13-16. Salt and light. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. So what that verse is talking about is salt. And in that time, it's not only used for seasoning, but it's used for a lot of different things. That's how that's their currency. That's how they were paid. Their workday was paid in salt. And they would use salt, like I said, for different things. They could do it to cover an odor in a house. It was, especially oh man, this is probably not. But my youth pastor, he's up in Muskegon now, but he had a funny sermon about poop. It's probably bad. But what they would do, like it said with the odor, they would put it on there to one, cover the odor, but then two, it would help it be like a rich soil, and they could use it for gardening. And you're talking probably poop
fertilizer.
Yeah. That's gross. But that's just it's really interesting. And that salt, if it talks about how can it be made salty again if the salt loses its saltiness, which that's faint and crazy, because salt loses its salt. What would it taste like? That's nothing. Yeah. Then it goes on talking about being a light. And what's been really cool is this upcoming school year for live stream is that verse of being a light. It's actually on my bracelet here too. Um, you're the light of the world. It talks about how we're all lights, and like we got to be a light for Christ and for God. And we shouldn't like have a light and just cover it up. Like we want to be seen by others. We want to by our actions, and we talked about this a little bit earlier too. But we need to show others what it really means to be like Christ. Like we don't want to be a lukewarm Christian and just be on the fence. Like some days we look like Christ, some days we're total crap, because like then people look at that could be a non-Christian like, that's you say he's a Christian? No way he's a Christian. There ain't no way. But if we're a light, we just got to keep shining and shining brighter and brighter and brighter. Like it says, where was it? Yeah. You're a light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Obviously, if a city has a lot of light, they're not going to be hidden. Mm-hmm. They don't cover it up with a big blanket, and people can't see a lighted up town on a hill. Mm-hmm. So that's what we got to be as Christians. We can't like put our light out or cover it. We got to shine our light. We got to do our best to represent what it looks like to be Christ, what it means to look like God. Even though it might be a hard thing, for sure. We're not perfect. Mm-hmm. I know it. I mean, you probably know it too.
Absolutely.
Reese, I know that kid ain't perfect. But yeah, no, we got to be the light. And it says to end that verse too. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. That's pretty much saying, like, if you're not a Christian and I'm a Christian and my light shines, I'm hoping that what I do as a Christian and the hopefully good actions, I show you what it means to look like Christ, that you can reflect those, and hopefully maybe you'll become a Christian and that you'll be a light too, and you can do the same thing, and then we can just multiply. That's what this verse is trying to get to here, and that's why I really like this passage. And yeah, that's just been on my heart for this past like middle of the summer till now.
That's a very powerful verse. Mm-hmm. Well, Doug, it's been great having you on. I mean, is there any like final thoughts or anything that you'd like to say, or?
No, I just want to say thank you for having me on the podcast.
It's been a pleasure.
You know, it's about time. But no, I just want to give encouragement to anyone who's out there who needs help or wants help. You can reach out to Hogan or I. He can obviously hook you up with my number if you want it or need it. And just remember that you're loved, and in the way that God wants to show what love looks like. I hope I can be a reflection of what that is to others, not only to my close circle, not just towards family, not just towards Grace, or to my other friends from high school or church, whatever, all those friends, but to everyone out there. You know, I just want them to know that. And yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, it's been awesome hearing your story, Doug, and how God's moved through your life. It's been a pleasure. I'd love to have you on again at a certain point.
Of course.
Yeah.